Karen has done a very good job of putting that up. If she hasn't put it on the website, it will be on the website, so you can certainly go out there and take a look at all of the details. But just looking through page 1, we talked about what the contract, the definition of terms, which is superintendent board, so pretty standard language there. Number 2 is the employment of the superintendent in the term of employment. It will be a 36-month term, initial term, beginning on July 1st, 2012, ending on June the 30th, 2015. Based on receipt of superior performance evaluations during the initial term of this contract, the contract shall be extended for 1 additional year at the conclusion of the initial term without further board action. This contract may be terminated prior to the end of the initial 36-month period in accordance with the terms and conditions set out in Indiana Code 2028, 8, and 7. Any extension of this contract beyond what is set out above shall be in accordance with Indiana Code 2028, 8, and 8. If you look at number 4, we're looking at the superintendent's evaluation. And superintendent's job performance will be evaluated by the Board of School Trustees based upon the duties set out in the job description attached and by using the evaluation tool, which was recently developed by the ISBA and IAPSS, which is compliant with the 2011 statute for evaluation of certified employees. From a salary standpoint, the salary will be $170,000 per year, and it will be paid in 26 installments on a schedule fixed for all full-time employees of the Greater Clark County Schools. Fringe benefits for the superintendent are the same as the certified administrators, and classified director's fringe benefit document and include in part the following. Dr. Melin will be given 20 days of vacation, annual paid leave. From an annual leave standpoint, he'll have 7 days as sick leave, 5 days as personal leave, and you'll have to use that in retention of the day shall be in accordance with the certified administrator's contract. It talks about accumulated leave, which is just unused annual leave, shall accumulate to a maximum of 90 days, and at such time that the leave is accumulated to the maximum of 90 days, superintendent shall be paid for unused annual leave above that amount at the end of each year at the rate of $120 per day. Moving over to life insurance, the superintendent will be provided a life insurance policy of $100,000. Superintendent will be entitled to relocation expenses. As part of that agreement, the superintendent agrees that he shall maintain his principal residence in the school corporation during his employment pursuant to this contract. He'll be compensated in the amount not to exceed $20,000 for costs directly associated with his relocation, and he'll be paid as reimbursement for expenses related to moving costs, rental costs in the Greater Clark area, and or mortgage payments in the current residence location. Reimbursement for said expenses shall be made after submission of valid receipts for the associated cost provided to the board for approval. From a vehicle standpoint, in lieu of a corporate-owned vehicle being provided to the superintendent, the board shall compensate the superintendent in the amount of $5,000 per year for the use of his personal vehicle for business-related purposes. The superintendent will be responsible for all business-related gasoline usage, maintenance, mileage, and repairs to his personal vehicle. The superintendent will be provided with a cellular telephone, which will be used for business use, and he agrees to keep the cell phone operational at all times for business purposes. Professional memberships. The superintendent shall be allowed to participate in the school-related professional memberships, and the board shall pay for the dues associated with said memberships in accordance with the school corporation's approved budget. Superintendent shall also attend ISBA, NSBA conferences and or seminars with members of the board at times when the board determines his attendance would be beneficial. Moving on to retirement, there will be a lump sum severance. The superintendent shall be eligible for a lump sum severance benefit at retirement in the amount of $2,000 if he meets the following criteria. A, attains age 55 by no later than December 31st of the calendar year in which he retires. He has been employed for 10 years and whose age and service years of continuous service when added together will be at least 70. And he has given proper written notification to the Board of School Trustees of his intent to retire. From a health insurance standpoint, he'll be entitled to the same health insurance policy as the certified administrative employees. And from ISTRF employee contribution, the board shall make any contributions to the Indiana State Teachers Retirement Fund that would otherwise be required to be paid by the superintendent. All payments to the superintendent are subject to federal income tax, and superintendent's contribution to the Indiana State Teachers Retirement Fund shall be included in the superintendent's salary for purposes of Indiana State Retirement Fund calculations. Superintendent will be entitled to long-term disability coverage in the same manner as certified administrative staff. The board has agreed to provide the superintendent and pay for a tax-sheltered annuity for the benefit of the superintendent using carriers approved for participation in Greater Clark in the amount of $10,000 annually during the term of his contract. Cancellation of contract, the parties agree that at any time of the execution of this contract, the superintendent meets the minimum qualifications for the position of superintendent as stated in the job description incorporated in paragraph 3, which I did not cover because it's fairly lengthy. Attachment A of this contract, and that if at any time the superintendent no longer meets the minimum licensing requirements, this contract shall terminate immediately without any due process or other precondition to cancellation. And the parties agree that provision 2 of this contract identifies the appropriate statutory authorities for other reasons in which this contract will be canceled. That's pretty much it from a compensation standpoint. Again, most of this is just legal language that would probably be left better for you to take a look on the website. I believe there are a few copies of this, the draft copy of it sitting around, so feel free to ask for that, but that is the compensation package. So now I'll turn it over to Mr. Sadler.